Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So good to be with you all. Make sure this is streaming the way I want it to. Not quite. Okay, bear with me one more time. We're going to try this again. Didn't quite work. Okay, let's join together in singing the words of Hine Matov. How wonderful it is for all of us to be together on this Sabbath day. Hine Matov u'manayi, shevet achim kam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayi, shevet achim kam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim kam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim kam yachad. Hine matov u'manayi, shevet achim kam yachad. Hine matov u'manayi, shevet achim kam yachad. How good and pleasant it is when brothers and sisters dwell together. For our ancestors, Shabbat was a sign of God's covenant of peace with the universe. They kept it faithfully. When their lives were torn, Shabbat made them whole. When their lives were bitter, it brought them sweetness. When their lives were peaceful, it deepened their joy. We start Shabbat always with this really powerful symbol of light. The symbol of bringing in a day when we have not just one soul, but tradition teaches us two, when we are enhanced with the spiritual presence of Shabbat, which can give our weeks purpose and meaning. And so I invite you to join with me. If you have candles, I invite you to take them out and join with me in saying the blessing over our Shabbat candles. Now, all of you who are worried about matches not working when you come up can feel a little better because I just demonstrated that for you. There we go. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. And our other symbol, of course, is our blessing over the grape juice or wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahavahu v'ratzon hilchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishi Kihu yom tefila l'mikrahi kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'chartam v'yotanu kidashtam mikol ha'amim Shabbat Shalom, v'ha'avratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat l'chaim. As we turn to our words of Kabbalat Shabbat, welcoming in Shabbat with songs and prayers, we also welcome one another. So I invite everyone who's here to send a message to someone you know, someone who you haven't met before, wishing one another a Shabbat Shalom, because truly in community is where we can find the sacredness of this holy day. Lechun Heranena, Lechun Heranena, Lechun Heranena, Adonai. Lechun Heranena, Lechun Heranena, Lechun Heranena, Adonai. Naria, Naria, Zor Yishem, Kadavana. Naria, Naria, Litzor Yishem, Yismirot Naria, Lechun Heranena, Lechun Heranena, Lechun Heranena, Adonai, Lechun Heranena, Lechun Heranena, Lechun Heranena. And we welcome in the Sabbath bride with the words of Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi librat kala yadadai 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 nishapat nekabela. Lecha Dodi librat kala yadadai 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 nishapat nekabela.
Everybody be patient. Rabbi knows that she can't be heard, so she's working on it. Just be patient, please.
You can't hear? Hello?
With her voice.
Here?
Yes,
You can?
yes.
Okay, I don't know why there was a problem. I apologize. Okay. I'm going to continue with Lecha Dodi. I'm so sorry about that. I honestly have no idea what went wrong. And I can't actually see messages. So if someone can, yeah. All right. If you can't hear, just put your hand to your ear and I'll do the best I can. Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi librat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi librat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor v'chad Ishmihanu echad echad Adonai echad Shmo echad Shemu tiferet v'litila Lecha Dodi librat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi librat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Oi b'shalom ateret ba'alam gam b'simcha u'tola toch emunei am segula boi kala Lecha Dodi librat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi librat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. And now that we have called to welcome in the Sabbath bride, now that we have sent messages to one another welcoming in our sacred community, we prepare ourselves for the Baruch Hu, calling ourselves and one another to words of blessing. Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada-da-da-da, 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 yada-da-da-da. Yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yada-da-da-da, 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 yada-da-da-da. We read together the Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, b'chochma poteach sha'arim, uvitzvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, v'mishmerateam v'rakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or, Umavir yom umevi laila, Umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'chayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam, compassionate source of wisdom, which gives thanks to you. We give thanks to you for words of Torah, which guide and inspire us throughout our lives. We see ourselves reflected in your holy words. Sometimes, like Hagar, we are seeking. Like young Moses, we are unsure. But we are also like Jacob, who found blessing in life struggles, like Abraham, our father, who leads with kindness and compassion. We are like Moses, who couldn't help but respond to the raging fires of our world, like Aaron, the healer and arbiter of peace, like Miriam, source of prayerful songs, sustenance, and inspiration, like Shiphrah and Puah, the courageous, and like Joseph, the forgiving. We who seek justice and truth, we who strive to love our neighbor as ourselves, turn your Torah again and again, each time finding new inspiration, new questions, new learnings to accompany us on the sacred journeys. Thank you, O God, for your holy teachings, your love letter to the soul. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Praise to you, God, who loves your people, Israel. One of the central prayers in our tradition, as you know, is a Shema. This prayer that says, "Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one." And we can choose to raise in body or in spirit as we say these words, uttering them with our mouths, or you can join me in offering them in sign language. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meotecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlatacha v'aterech u'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam lehot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam amazizot beitecha u'visharecha Laman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem meretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, and that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Mi chamocha vaylim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osei pelen, nora tehilot, osei pelen. Malachutecha rahu banecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam. Zeili, zeili, anu v'hamerun. Adonai yimloch leolam vahed. Adonai yimloch leolam vahed. Adonai yimloch leolam vahed. V'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, v'yalom yad chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai, gal Yisrael. Right now, as we know, there are many people in our community who are at summer camps. Our Cantor and Cantor's family, several of our students. And at summer camp, this prayer, the Hashkivenu prayer, takes on an especially important role because it is a prayer that reminds our students, reminds everyone who's there, that the love of parents and community are with them throughout each and every night, that God's presence is with them. As we celebrate this Shabbat as a community, may we find love and understanding among us, knowing that we are surrounded by a community that cares. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, L'shalom. V'ha'amitenu, Shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu, Sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, L'shalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, L'shalom. And of course, we celebrate the joy and the blessing that is Shabbat. The rest of the week is filled with work or the monotonous kind of things that perhaps we do each day, but this day of Shabbat is set apart from the rest. This day of Shabbat can give our week meaning, and so we delight by offering the words of Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridolam. B'nei Israel, hoti leholam. Veshamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridolam. Ki shishit yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridolam. Ubayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridolam. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, unripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. I invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as we continue with the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor B'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasei Avot V'Yamahot, U'Mevi Geola Livnei V'Nehem, L'man Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Hu Moshiach Hu Mageh, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Vezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Morid Hatah, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somach Noplim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umechayim Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Kevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Mimi to Mechaye, Umatmi Al Yeshua, V'ne'eman Hata L'chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yehalalu Chasela, Baruch Atah Adonai, HaKadosh. You are holy, your name is holy. And those who strive to be holy declare your glory day by day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. We take a few moments for our own personal prayers. Yehiyu leratzon, imrefi, vehegyon libi, lefanecha, Adonai, Tzuri, Tzuri, Vegoali, May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable before you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Yehiyu leratzon, imrefi, vehegyon libi, lefanecha, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegoali, Tonight, we happen to be heading into our Torah service because this is a Friday night where we have a Torah service. But there is something very special about this particular Torah service, which is that tonight we are honoring the anniversary of an incredible couple in our community, Don and Roz Leach, celebrating their 43rd anniversary. And we are so, so excited for both of you and for the privilege of celebrating this milestone with you. So for the honor of the Aliyah, I'd like to call both of you to bless our Torah portion this evening.
Yep. Baruch hu et Adonai hamivarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam vahed.
Baruch Adonai hamivarach leolam vahed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu. Got the wrong one.
No, you're right. Et Torato.
Natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai. Thank you. Notein HaTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayisab Elam et einav. Vayar et Yisrael. Shochein lemishpatam. V'tehi Allah Ruach Elohim, Visa Mishalom, Vayomar, Nehum Bilham, Beno Behor, Hagefer, Shetum Hayim, Nehum, Shemeya, Amar Hel, Asher, Lamachazeh, Shaddai, Yehudah, Nofel, Uglui Enayim, Matovu Ohalacha, Yaakov, Mishkenotacha, Yisrael. Did sound go out again?
No, I heard you.
Okay.
Everything, it was perfect here.
Okay.
Yeah,
No?
yeah.
Some people
No, Rabbi Cassie, it wasn't perfect for everybody. A lot of us were waving our arms. So sorry. And I can tell that, the tiny bit that we heard, it was wonderfully beautiful, but no, it was not hearable for the majority.
Hold on one second. I'm going to try something.
Okay.
Okay, can everyone hear now?
A little bit more. Speak,
You can
say
hear?
some more. Say some more. Just say more words.
Okay, can you hear?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to chant Torah one more time so everyone can hear. And this way, Don and Raz will be able to have something that they were blessing. So we're going to do this one more time.
Thank you.
Vayisa Bilam et Einav, Vayar et Yisrael, Shochein L'mishpatav, V'tahiyah Ruach Elohim, V'yisa Mishalom, Vayomar, Nehum Bilam, Beno Behor, Hagefer, Shetum Hayim, Nehum, Shomeya, Amrehel, Asher, Mechazeh, Shaddai, V'yachazeh, Nofel, Uglui Enayim, Matovu Halacha, Yaakov, Mishkenotacha, Yisrael.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. We'll stop share for just a second because this is a very big milestone for you, Raz and Don. And I would like to offer you words of blessing. I looked up because there is this tradition of numbers having meaning, right? And so I looked up what 43 in Gematria correlates to. And it just so happens that it correlates to the word Gimel, Vav, Gimel Vav Lamed, which is 43, which is Gil or Gilah, which is said as part of the blessing actually from the Shever Brachot, Gil Arina, which means joy. It means happiness. And we hope that in your 43 years together, we know you've seen a lot of happiness, have done a lot of adventures. And this is a time where we offer you words of blessing that you will have many, many, many more years of great happiness. The Talmud teaches if a couple is worthy of the divine presence, or if a couple is worthy, the divine presence abides with them. And there is no doubt that the divine presence has abided with you over these past 43 years and will well into the future. Oh God, eternal source of blessing, we turn to you in gratitude for the strength and devotion that have preserved and sustained Raz and Don, and permitted them to reach this 43rd anniversary of their wedding. As you look back on the years that have passed since you first pledged yourselves to one another, may you celebrate the varied experiences that you have had since that day, mingled occasions of victory and defeat, of fulfillment and disappointment. You can recall the joys that have graced your days with light and beauty, and the dark storms that shook you. In joys and trials alike, oh God, you have been with them. So may you continue to be with them, guiding and sustaining them in the years to come. Raz, Don, may God bless you both with health and contentment, and may your love only grow stronger with each passing day. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'achiyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this day, celebrating with both of you. Yasher koach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
And we can all continue that celebration after the services during our oneg, because it truly is something to celebrate. So I want to talk a little bit about this portion that we just read. The very last line that we read might be really familiar to you. The words Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkanotecha Yisrael, which are part of the prayer that we can say each morning, called the Ma tovu. How great are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling place, O Israel. And we're going to get to those words and the meaning behind them in just a few moments. But before I do, I need to set the context in which these words of blessing are uttered. So there is a king named Balak, and this king is the king of a nation named Moab. The Israelites happen to be their neighbors at this point, and Balak saw how strong the Israelites were, how they had defeated other people in battle. And Balak becomes so fearful of the Israelite people that what does he do? He calls for a sorcerer named Balaam to curse the Israelite people. Balaam, hearing words from God telling him not to go on this journey, said, no, there's no way I'm going to do this. I'm going to listen to God. But when Balak bribed Balaam and enticed him with riches in order to offer words of curse, he went anyway. And he seeks the perfect place to stand from which he can curse the Jewish people. Now, there's another piece that the Talmud goes into here that's really important to understand, which is that like all of us, God is imperfect. And so Balaam knew that he was not as strong as God or as able or as wise, but perhaps he could play to God's weaknesses. The Talmud explains that every day God would get angry with the Jewish people. God would be overcome with anger, even if just for a moment. Now, God's anger of frustration was perhaps justified. After all, despite all the miracles that the Israelites had witnessed, they remained unappreciative. Despite the time that God had taken to teach the Israelites how to live moral and sacred lives, they continued to sin, to complain, to beg to go back to Egypt. And their journey to the promised land was taking so incredibly long because they simply weren't ready. It can be understandable why for a moment God might be angry for a few moments in the day. And that's all it was, a few fleeting moments. But Balaam knew, again, that God was stronger and wiser than him. But perhaps if he could pinpoint this moment of anger that God had and curse the people while God was also angry at them, then perhaps Balaam's curse would stick. The Talmud explains that God's anger could actually be marked by a moment when the deep red color on the comb of a rooster pales. And so Balaam went to watch the rooster very, very closely to indicate that exact moment and to curse the people when that happened. And when that happened, Balaam was ready. Balaam opened his mouth to curse the people, but there was something that Balaam had not anticipated, which is that God noticed. And in that moment, when God was witnessing Balaam about to curse the people, God decided to put aside God's anger and to refocus God's energies into turning Balaam's curses into words of blessing. The Talmud teaches that Balaam sought to say, the Israelites should not have a synagogue and study halls, but instead those very words, those very intents, were turned into the words, Ma gadlu ma'asecha Adonai, how goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. That Balaam wanted to say that the divine presence would not rest upon the people, but instead God changed the sentiment into, and your dwellings, O Israel, shall have God's presence, and the kingdom of Israel would continue. And so the blessing continues, taking words of Balaam's curse into words of blessing. In each case, Balaam tried to bring about curse for the people so that he could be rewarded handsomely by Balak, king of the Moabite people. And in each case, God stood in his way. There's a book that a friend of mine wrote that came out this past year called Bless Our Workforce, Changing the Way We Manage Our People. And its author, Mark Young, said that basically what this book is it's an opportunity to focus on how do we bless every single person with whom we work and who perhaps works for us. The reason I bring it in here is because earlier this week, Mark Young said that these words are actually inspired by this week's Torah portion. That the book that he wrote actually began when he was 13 years old and he was becoming a bar mitzvah, and this was his Torah portion, just like I know it was Michelle's Torah portion. But this book came out of this idea that all of us, like God, have the power to turn curses into blessings, have the power to turn anger into love, have the power to turn something that is negative into something that is constructive and positive. There's a book many of you might be familiar with called Have You Filled a Bucket Today? It's a book that both of my kids were given when they went into kindergarten. And essentially it sends the message that all of us have the ability to either be bucket dipping or bucket filling. When we're bucket dipping, what we do is we negate someone else, put someone else down, perhaps in order to get out our frustration or anger, perhaps because we misguidedly think that by putting someone else down, we're lifting ourselves up. But the alternative to that, the alternative to what Balaam is doing in this portion is what God is doing in this portion, by bucket filling, by finding ways in which to bless. All of us have had moments in our lives like God where we are filled with frustration and anger. All of us perhaps feel enticed at one time or another to be bucket dipping. But when we consciously direct our attention to be bucket filling, to turn our anger and our words of curse into ones of blessing, then we have the power to bring so much beauty into this world. We have the power to change all of our words into ones of blessing. And on this Shabbat, may we seek them and may we bring them out, just like God brought them out of Balaam. We are going to turn to the Mishaberach prayer. And this Mishaberach prayer is something that I know we are saying for all of those who are in Florida, dealing with that horrific building collapse that happened just a day and a half ago. And I invite everyone here to write in the chat the names of anyone for whom we'd like to offer words of blessing. Anyone for whom we'd like to say the Mishaberach prayer. And I invite you to join with me in saying these words of blessing as we look at the names of everyone in our community and we hold people in our hearts. Mekor habracha vehimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lehavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with Rafuah Shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We also take a moment in our service to remember the people who have died in recent days. Nissan, a death, Morton Goldberg, Nadine Carol Wilkerson, Joyce Weiss, and Jay Boxerman. We also are observing the yahrzeits of Benjamin Aldelberg, Simon Alpert, Irving Altman, Lloyd Armstrong, Louis Bass, Ben Blatt, Cyril Bowden, Samuel Breitman, Catherine Calderon, Gertrude Ray Cohen, Jane Fraser DeRico, Patricia Davis, Max Danye, Judith Feldman, Anne Ray Jakowitz, John S. Kamholtz, Leonard Jacob Kapner, Herman Kornhauser, Anna Leibowitz, Leonard Lifton, William Ivan Maltz, David Myers, Jennifer O'Brien, Isaac Peretz Alcazar, Kenneth Pike, Minnie Rubin, Benjamin Reingold, Jean Reiger, Malia Rigler, Eleanor Gale Razomsky, excuse me, Eleanor Gale Razamovsky, Paul Shavani, Joseph Shapiro, Hannah Schneider, Gussie Stolnitz, Alex Victor, Adele Wallach, Sarah Joyce Wine, Jenny Wolf, and Louis E. Wolf. May all of their memories be an abiding blessing. Let us offer the words of the mourner's Kaddish in their memory and the memory of everyone else we keep in our hearts. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'amad zivrach charotei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomachon, v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivrach le'olam olamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiram v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be a blessing. And together we say, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I want to take a moment to thank our greeters this evening. Tina Gross, one of our newest board members, thank you so much for being our greeter here on Zoom. And for Keith Small as well on Facebook for being our greeter. Thank you both so much. And to Marla, one of our temple presidents, who will be offering some announcements on behalf of the board of directors.
Thank you, Rabbi Cassi. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So very happy to be here tonight representing your board of directors. It's pretty cool that we've got our two newest board members greeting this evening. Both Tina and Keith are brand new to your board. And it's just very exciting for that. And so happy to be here. I'd like to share a lot of upcoming, well, no, I hardly have anything to say tonight. Usually I have much more, but tomorrow at 10 a.m. you can continue your Shabbat worship by doing Torah on the trails. It'll be at Point Furman in San Pedro. Rabbi Cassi will lead that. The walk is filled with prayerful music, relaxation, conversation, all in the beauty of nature. And because it's an easy, flat trail, it means that probably everyone can participate. Please remember to bring and wear your mask. I know we're outside, but it just is a better choice, we believe, if you would just please wear your mask. That'd be really, really great. And then that's at 10 in the morning. And then 5 in the evening, you can join Pam Tarlow for a wonderful half hour of meditation practice. And then on Sunday, never fear, we can't let you go the whole weekend without having more good fun. At 3:30, you're invited to our neighborhood Connections game day. It's just a fun-filled hour of games and community. We're going to quiz one another, apparently, on our knowledge of Temple Bethel. So some of you veteran folks, don't try to show us up. We newbies might get some right answers. And also there'll be questions of Jewish interest as well. There's prizes and awarded to the winners of each round. And there's a grand prize will be given to the person who has the most points. This is supposed to be the guarantee they make. Those people who are coordinating this and working so hard on it, is there'll be a lot of laughs and fun for that afternoon. Great gratitude to you, Rabbi Cassi, for a wonderful sermon as always this evening. And what an opportunity for us to take what we learn from you and from the Torah and put it into practice. How nice it would be if each of us could learn and then practice a better way to manage our anger. At least we do acknowledge we do feel angry every now and then, and how we manage it probably would be a good thing. The only thing I noticed, all of my TBE family, you know who the one person we all neglected to put in the chat room for the Misha Barak was our coughing rabbi. So anyway, on behalf of everybody, we wish you, Misha Barak, Rabbi Cassi, to feel better and get rid of that cough. Just a couple commercials here. You know, in order to afford the Torah school to continue and do the great work it does with our young people, there's two opportunities for you to make some purchases. One certainly is this honey program where you can send a gift of honey to your friends and family, although you order it now, but they won't receive it until Rosh Hashanah. That makes good sense, right? Now, the benefit of ordering and having it sent now, or ordering it now, is that you save the shipping and handling. So I think that would that would be marvelous. And so anyway, I want you all to do that if you can. The more bottles or jars that we send, the more jars that we purchase, the bigger the profit is for our Torah school. So we got a long way to go. Some of us have already overdone it and bought a ton of jars, but you all pitch in and do it as well. We'll have a good time with this. And then the other fundraiser is an opportunity on July 11th. Take a look in your weekly email to see about an interesting movie that might be appealing to you and make you feel good. And I just want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. And welcome to our new folks there. Shelley and Dawn, absolutely, right?
Shelley and Bob, so good
Bob.
to have you here.
Right,
Yeah.
my dad's name, I should have got
it. Yeah, we're going to go into our Oneg breakout rooms in a minute. There is actually one event that wasn't listed in our announcements, which is that in San Pedro, there is a pride parade that is going on, a family-friendly one, so people of any age can feel right at home there. That'll be happening on Sunday starting at 11 o'clock. It was in Friday's email. It is also on Facebook, but if you have questions about it, I'm more than happy to send it. And our temple will have a presence there along with the San Pedro Faith Consortium, of which we are a part. So I'm going to break us into breakout rooms, and I invite you to stay around. If you haven't had dinner yet, that's okay. Bring your dinner, bring a snack, bring a cup of wine, whatever you want to bring it. But spend some time with old friends and with new ones. Invite everyone to click on the button so that they can join.